Hey, what you two faggots up to? How's your day going? Let me guess. Bored as fuck until I showed up, huh? They ain't been about shit to the last 6 minutes. I get it. How could we get a hold of that black man's nuts? Yeah, the white girl beat you to it. Nope. Still not gay. So your interest in sucking my dick is not granted. Promise you, I'm only gonna let the white girl do that. Nope. Black and Latin girls too. You know what? I'll make an exception. But as much as y'all spend time on my dick, I'll never let you suck it. That's just something I can't go for. Now, do me a favor. Where is it at? Weirdo one. Sit here, call upon faggot number two, and wait for my return. Like, just sit here and look stupid sitting in my stream. I'm gonna go get some blunt wraps. I'm gonna give y'all new commands this year. Alright? So you and faggot one sit here, look stupid. I'm not putting on any music for y'all. Fuck all that. Just sit there and look stupid as fuck until I get back. Do me that favor. Do me that solid. Alright? I know you can do it. Don't let me down. I don't want to check in on my stream and see zero. I want to see at least one or two people here. I got blunts. I got blunts too. But as much as I've made y'all wait, I figure I'll make y'all wait some more. All right. See you faggots in a minute. faggots. I'll be right back. Sit there and wait. You two pussy niggas did just as I said. Good looking. My two biggest, my two biggest obsessors, dick riders, man. How y'all doing? Y'all aware that y'all the only two faggots that jumped on my stream as soon as you caught the notification, but I never sent out an invite. Ruger, how that alien bitch doing? Stinky fag, how that Chinese slob doing? Mad Max, how your hand treating you? Sis, you not a D-Rider? You need a loan? Okay, sis. Okay. Well, when I walked in the door, it was two, so I was talking to them. And that's Ruger, alien face ass nigga, and one of these other faggots that have been obsessing over me all these years. How you doing, sis? I know you still on the bench, substitution and all that. Been sitting here waiting on you. You have, sis. So I wasn't talking to you before I left, right? Because there was two people in here, and I called them faggots, and I said that they could obsess to sit here and obsess over my dick and wait for me to bring it back. I wasn't talking to you, right? You didn't hear none of that. Come on. Because you know damn well I ain't finna talk to none of my friends or none of my people or family like that. Just these weirdos. Sis, I didn't send out one invite. I didn't send out one invitation. You got a notification, you're here, I can accept that. I'm good with that. These other dudes, I'm not good with that. Damn, and I forgot to motherfucking. Like I should go back now. I forgot to check my Powerball and Mega Ball, Mega Millions. These niggas all over my balls. There was one other person when I joined. Oh, that's faggot one. That's faggot one. One of these goofy gay dudes that can't break their obsession over me. Hold on. Nah, I didn't get a notification. I just saw you were streaming. Oh, see, those faggots did. Ruger, ain't that right? Wasn't you the first one to get a notification? Or Chaz? Or Stinky Fag? Or Mad Max? Wasn't one of y'all one of the first ones to get a notification? They got the little program hooked up so that they get a notification before anybody else does. Then they run in with their gayness. Like sis, I know you gay. I don't mind your gayness at all. You good. But like I said to you yesterday, I got a problem with the gay dudes. I do. And these dudes are gay. I think they fantasize about sucking my dick and shit. Cause I don't understand. I can't come to any other conclusion as to what the fuck they all always up in here for. Why they always all up in here? God damn. I haven't had females obsess over me this hard. I don't know if Ruger being here. Oh, he being here. Oh, faggot ass nigga. Want to know how big my dick is? He be in here. Uh, who else? Who's the other? Who's the next nigga that was obsessing over my dick? Stinky fag. That's stinky coat. The nigga in China with the fat bitch. And who else? Mad Max, the divorced Australian with a suicidal daughter. Then um, Skyhawking. He thought I forgot about him. My little red ginger boy. Him, weed farmer. The crew, the old gang, bunch of faggots. And don't mind me, I'm just going down the list of suspects of all faggots that have ever obsessed over my channel. Ruger, so forth and so on. They can't take themselves away from the idea of getting off my dick. I don't know why, sis. I really don't. It's, it's disturbing. Oh, yeah, can't forget about the half man, half bitch. Why Kim? Kim, why? I know it's not my latest D-Riders because this shit was going on before I ever got into a situation with them. So, oh, did I hurt he worked some feelings? Hmm. Jazz being here full time. Hell yeah. After he's done playing with his cats, he sits around and waits for me to post up a stream. Oh, Canadian. Oh, dried up Canadian cunt. Oh, Chaz. You gotta love somebody that's not from this country that obsesses over it. Like, I'm tired of these British weirdos and Canadian Canadian fucks. Like, can we get some people to check in from Mexico? They always worried about how we living and what we doing. Because they living in log cabins in the woods and shit. I mean, you know, these some insecure dudes. Like, take Google, for example. Buddy streamed about 5 years. He ain't never once, but once. He ain't never but one time streamed with his female or let her be seen. And that was a motherfucking horror show. But ever since then, and that one time, he just dick ride my stream and other streamers trying to figure out what we got going on, want to get a look at our ladies and shit. I mean, he's top of the line, weirdest nigga out of niggas. And the guy that you was trolling, he's weirder than him. Like, still running around telling lies about recording with movies and this, that, and the third. They not even doing movies no more. And good. I'm glad you spelled my name right for once. Now, what's this? What's that, Ruger? You said nobody wants my small D? Mr. Small, that's why your dad cut you off? And your mom did what? What did my mom do? Your mom cut you off too. You all are crazy. Mm. Hey sis, you want to deal with that while I roll with this blunt? I'll give you. I'll let you do the pleasure. Damn, Ruger. Damn. Was that direct conversation really? Did that hit a nerve? I mean, I've been shooting off now for a good 10 minutes. I went for a blunt run. Told your bitch ass to sit there and wait. Damn. Hmm. I'm crazy. Maybe, but you stupid, obsessed, and gay. Damn. Who could it be? Stinky Fag, Ruger Pew, or Chaz the Canadian cunt? I know I gotta have one of them. You know what I mean? Hammer the nail. Sounds like, really sounds like my British bitch boy though. I mean, he obsesses over my dick just as much as they do. Sounds like him. I don't know. I couldn't even see the message at first. Oh, that's Ruger. That's Ruger. That's Ruger. Old almond face. San Francisco 49 gang gang. What up, though? Let me see if I can see anything. Do you see what I see? Afternoon, sir. You hear about the black Capitol officers that wanted their work? They wanted that. So you hear about the black Capitol officers that are wanted? That no, that warned that there were racist white officers for years in the Capitol. Nothing happened. I just heard about it now after reading your mention. In other words, nah, I hadn't heard that. I didn't know that. That makes perfect sense. Wait, you mean to tell me that there were racist police in the Capitol Police Force? No, come on. That's the United States Capitol Police Force. There's no racist amongst them. Come on, you're way off base, San Francisco. But how you doing anyway? And perfect maneuver. I like how you came in. What's up? Afternoon, sir. We got straight to the politics. I'm kind of tired of talking about my dick and how motherfuckers is on it. Yeah, I didn't hear about that. I didn't. Maybe be lucky enough to get some of that information while we politic over a cup of mud and some blunts. You cut the Wi-Fi back on. Woo woo woo. Woo woo. Yeah. Oh, before we get there, I gotta check up with sis. See if I can see what she didn't see or what we supposed to be seeing. Cause we got boys that want to play games. It doesn't matter where you're at. Racism is everywhere. Sis comes through with the facts. Facts. It's a fact. He's on my dick. It's a fact. Racism is everywhere. It's a fact. Sis, I need another fact. Are you doing good today? Are you all right? Are we better? Worse? Better? Worse? Or maintaining? What we doing? What we doing? I need that update. I need to know how my family doing. This faggot's wondering how I'm doing. I'm wondering how you doing. Now let me see. Ah, you couldn't see it. I saw it. I see it. Look at that. It's me. Me versus me. Sis, why you ban me? Why you hide me? Don't hide me. These boys want to get a good look at me. Didn't you see me start the stream without the shirt on? Got they bussies all moist and shit. Ew. Hey, let me give myself a thumbs up because I like the stream. We're up to 160 subs. We're doing all right. Considering we had the account for about 3 months, right? 160 subs. That's an average of what? 53 subs per month. All right, give or take. We're doing good. We're doing good. Regardless of what they want, we get what we want. What did some douchebag say to me the other day? Your sub count. Let me just switch accounts real quick. See what this says. What does that say? No, not 1,290 subs. I thought I lost my Blunt Mover account. Just in PlayStation. Stupido. Now, I don't want to get too sidetracked. Let's get into this shit that confuses them. Same. Because they 40 something, 30, late 30 something, and don't know shit dickle about what's going on in the world they live in. The school breaking stimulus news, Biden announcing massive multi-trillion stimulus package. Let's hear about that. I'm interested. I'm intrigued. It's a whole hour and 7 minutes. You ready? Hey, look at them two sevens. Hold on, but wait. Jackpot. All right, all right. And in other news, how you doing? Sis, how you doing? The same?
I'm a TurboTax Live expert, ready to assess even the most unique
San Francisco.
Can I deduct this clarinet as a medical expense?
Since you're planning to fix it
Aside from the perversions and the politics of what we deal with on a daily, how's your day going? How's your day going? How you doing?
If we catch crab in Virginia and Maryland, do we file in each state?
With large catches in both? Yes. I'll even file for you.
Thank you.
You guys took the time out to text to me. I'll take the time out to find out how your day been. Been good?
Today, we're going to get to learn the ins and outs of that. We're getting a preview of just how big
No, I hope so.
package might be. Although I am a little concerned about the price tag on some of the stimulus checks. We'll tell you about some rumblings about a lower stimulus check. We'll tell you about that this morning on the show. We're also going to talk about which members of Congress were leading tours one day before the Capitol riots, as one representative labeled them as reconnaissance tours. An unusual number of a large group of people coming through the Capitol the day before. That is going to be under investigation, so we're getting more details about that. Andrew Yang makes a huge announcement. We'll bring you the details on his universal basic income announcement and one other small detail. And
can you hear it okay?
For a war,
I know I got the camera over there. Can you hear it okay?
Those war drums, I guess. Here we go. Hearing that from the Trump administration, so I guess we got to start spending more money on our military once again. All of that and more on the show today. Good to see all of you. I should mention yesterday, and David is in our control booth. Good to see you, my friend.
Good morning.
Running the stream here. So yesterday we had an issue with our newsletter, some kind of server issue, and I think what happened is a lot of you probably received the newsletter, but it went to your spam folder or it went to a junk folder. So if you are a subscriber of our newsletter, could you do me a favor? If you can do it right now, that'd be awesome. Well, we got a few minutes here.
Want me to unsubscribe and resubscribe?
Can you check your junk folder or your spam folder for our newsletter? And if it's in there, just drag it out and bring it to your inbox. What happened was we had like 200 fake email accounts that had signed up somehow. You know, people do that. They'll create fake accounts or whatever to try to get whatever. So we have to clean those out occasionally. Or if people, not fake, but if somebody actually mistypes their email address, they'll put like gmail.com instead of .com, or so they'll sign up with wrong emails. That actually hurts us, and so it actually screws up things on the back end, and then we had a drop. Anyway, long story short, I just want to make sure you guys are getting the newsletter. If you're not a newsletter subscriber, you can go to morninginvest.com. We publish it every day, Monday through Friday.
Well, I guess we won't find out how.
You know, we put a lot of work
Cisco's
into
days,
it,
Ben.
and it's totally free. You can read the news.
He texts and I
in 5 or
can't
6
see it.
minutes over your cup of coffee in the morning. But yeah, it was really a bummer yesterday because we noticed that like a huge chunk of you received the newsletter but didn't read it. So I was like, oh, all that work that we put in, and then people didn't get the chance to read it. So it's probably sitting in your spam folder and your junk folder. All right, that's my little public service announcement, and I'll do it later in the show again when our audience is fully here. So good morning to everybody. How's everybody looking in the stream today?
Good afternoon.
Good.
Say hello to everybody.
Facebook connected.
Cool.
I always got to go in and set up Facebook after we've started. So
I got the new computer setup going, and there's a lot of cords laying around the office right now. There's like, okay, wait a minute, this thing's not turned on yet. This one's not set up right, so I had a lot of issues this morning.
Joyce is asking, could we go to members only? We are in members only already. So that's because we have so many members, and we thank you guys. If you want to become a member, you can do that pretty easily. If you want to chat,
Morning Invest
over
Yes.
/ join.
this link.
Morninginvest.com / join.
Yeah, and people are asking like, how can I make sure that it doesn't go to spam? The newsletter. That's very easy. You just got to make sure you can even like if you're in Gmail, if you use Gmail.
Okay.
How many people use Gmail? Just let me know in the chat. How many people use Yahoo or something
I
else?
wasn't sure.
What you can do
I
is
asked the
Gmail,
question
you can
3 minutes
actually
ago. Yeah, you
turn it into
how's
a
the day?
VIP
All right,
by
they good.
starring the name.
Still waiting on the
star
6th.
icon. If you star it, the sender, then that'll go into a VIP list and it won't happen again. But
Hold on.
Gmail's funky, and occasionally these email service providers, they're like, oh, we just think that this is spam, and we're going to put it all in the spam folder. So it's just a pain in the butt. So I apologize for that. So if you're just joining us, we're going to talk about the big stimulus news this afternoon that's going to be unfolding. President-elect Joe Biden in Wilmington, Delaware will be making this announcement. We've got a preview of what's in this thing. So we'll bring that to you this morning. We're also going to talk about really the interesting investigation that's kind of unfolding now at the
We
Capitol.
got it January
Who in
4th.
the world
It's today.
was leading people around and giving them tours
14th?
of the Capitol the day before?
Yeah.
By the way,
I got it
there's
10
rules
days
in
ago.
the Capitol.
So, and I
They're
get
not allowed to
direct
give tours
deposit.
right now. Not since last March have people been allowed in. So why were there unusual numbers of people like roaming the halls the day before the Capitol uprising?
Direct deposit goes out fucking there and there the same day they do the shit. 48 hours, 72 hours. Old people that get direct deposits in the first 3 days, they get theirs.
Facebook.
So there's that, and there's been.
Twitter.
So you knocked down that 3. What date was that?
What's Grover up to? Grover is here. Yes, people are asking about the G-Dog. He's sunning himself right now.
Monday. That was Monday, last Monday.
Looking at the other dogs that are running around outside.
And if they started
It's like
sending out
animals
camps on
choose the
Wednesday,
most uncomfortable way to rest. But
when
he's
it
like, okay,
goes
here's a
and
nice
they didn't
metal
move
pole.
Saturday or
Just
Sunday,
put my head on this.
Monday, Tuesday,
Where I'm
Wednesday.
gonna sleep.
That shit
There's a
should have
pillow
been there
you're laying
today
on,
or tomorrow, bro.
You could actually use that to sleep. Now this metal pole seems nice.
You got your 12 before, right?
It's like kids too. Kids sleep in the weirdest positions. I'm like, how are you comfortable? Your head is like resting against the wall.
You got your 1200 before, right? They mailed it to you.
And wait for another dog.
What happened with the 12? Because that can help understand where your 6 is at. If you didn't get the 12,
Derek wants to know if
well,
you
it
ever
took
found
a
yours
long
a slipper.
time.
I have not. Operation Slipper.
I mean, you got to figure
Still
too. They're sending out
Grover,
checks to
I'm blaming
everybody.
Grover, or
So
my 4-year-old. It's one of the two of them. The other day we couldn't find our car keys, and so my wife said, "Oh, well, I got to borrow your keys then." And
like it's
later in the
been
afternoon,
a week
she
and a half
discovered
right now,
buried
as of
inside
today, since they
Eve's
did the
jewelry box.
Well, I would assume your daughter wouldn't
deposit
eat
with the
like,
banks.
Like,
Now the checks, you know, they still got to print them up. Then they got to send them out.
yeah, I guess that's true. Some kids eat chapstick.
I don't know how long that takes. That might take them 5 days. And then they just sent them out Monday.
Good morning, everybody. Nice to see
you. Might get lucky and get it on Saturday.
At least I hope you're smiling. Carla Becker says love and light to all of you. Love and light to you as well. Nancy Dubin, you got the newsletter. Good to see you. Brenda Durden, I still haven't received your stimulus. Come on. And I'm on Social Security. Nothing has changed since the last time. Yeah, well, the IRS has been trying to correct the problem.
Because I got tired of playing that stupid move where they kept having you fucking reapply.
But you don't want the hassle.
I went through that like a motherfucker. They make you do that with all these shits. They'll come back at you. Oh, you'll have everything in order, and they'll be like, show us that this is in order. Yeah, bro, it's in order. Here's the same thing. Here's a recopy of what the fuck I sent you. Here's my taxes again. I had to send my taxes probably about 4 or 5 times.
73 acres of newly lift-accessible expert terrain on Tucker Mountain or Eldora, just 21 miles from Boulder and 49 from Denver. Visit
But that's SBA. The IRS, they play a different game. I got the first one from the same account. Must have been closed.
January 14th. I'm Clayton Morris. So glad to have you all here on the only show that has a live, interactive audience. We cover these progressive issues that other people simply won't talk about because they are run by corporate media, and they do not want you to have universal basic income, Medicare for all. All of these pieces, universal health care, universal basic income, all of these things we're going to talk about on today's show, actually, because it's part of a new campaign for Andrew Yang, who is now officially running for mayor of New York City. We will get to that and his bold plan for universal basic income coming to a city near you. We're going to talk about Joe Biden, and he will be making an announcement this afternoon in Wilmington, Delaware, on the new economic stimulus package, and it looks like this is going to be the first of 2 stimulus packages. It's going to be massive. We might not like the amount of the stimulus checks, though. I'll tell you about that rumor and some other news on the stimulus front this morning as well. We're also going to talk about which members of Congress were leading tours through the Capitol one day before the riots happened. What the hell? Okay, you're not even allowed to have anybody in there since March of last year. What are all these people doing the night before the riots?
Thank you.
We'll get some answers on that. And get ready, because the White House is sounding the alarm about Iran. Well, yeah, get ready. We might be going to war with Iran before you know it.
What?
Great, because we needed another bad guy.
Of course.
That's how the story unfolds, right? You need a bad guy in your story. And that means, and then, you're anti-American if you don't think that we should be spending billions of dollars to go to another war and also support our military and line the pockets of defense contractors. So we're going to hear from Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. He's been talking Iran nonstop for the past couple of weeks.
And then that's why you closed the account. I remember you explaining this to me.
Grover is floating around somewhere.
I thought for sure
Go to
that should be a
irs.gov.
Biden move, but they're going to do it before.
Just go to irs.gov, and you'll find a button that says check my money.
Right? But see, Biden's pro,
get my
Biden's
money.
pro-war.
It's
course,
like right there. It's one button.
Expand our military, voted for war multiple times.
You're going to have to fill back out. Reactivate your account.
All right, we're going to get to the news.
Or
get to the stimulus
from there, you can check to see what information they have on you.
Where that thing stand in the Senate in just a second. But I do want to
they might have respected you closing the account and been like, okay, maybe he's moving somewhere else. We're going to wait for him a new account from him.
I use Grammarly every stinking day, and it is fantastic.
I use it too every day.
You use it?
Yep. It makes me seem smart.
Is fantastic. Right, exactly. I mean,
IRS.gov.
You're not excellent with grammar, or you just want to improve your writing skills, or whether you're
you'll resolve your problem. You'll find out
a resume or anything.
Where they sent the money, if they sent the money.
It helps you write more clearly, more
if you've even got an active account.
Just catching any spelling mistakes. What it'll do is it'll basically give you real-time feedback and insights to help you elevate your writing.
Thanks for asking.
Word tone, you can
my family
pick different tones on how you want to write. You can pick different word choices.
I haven't had the
clarity. Look at this, and it integrates.
I tried 1 or 2 times, but you weren't on.
So
I haven't caught you seeing you on. We haven't been on at the same time. We're on now.
Yeah, I use it in Gmail. I also use it on my blog.
If you intend on being on for a little bit more,
when you're writing a blog,
I'm going to put up another hour.
That is very important.
If you intend on being on for after a little bit more an hour, I'm going to hit you up after I'm done here.
Very reputable brands, very reputable blogs that have misspellings or poor grammar.
Exactly. So Grammarly Premium, you're going to get 20% off. You can elevate your writing with 20% off Grammarly Premium by signing up at Grammarly.com/invest. You have to use that code to get that 20% off. That's 20% off Grammarly Premium. GRAMMARLY.
IRS.gov, son. And they got a button on there when you get to the page. It just says get my money or check my money or something to that effect.
We don't screw something up. And it's interesting too. Sometimes, we'll be writing something.
Then you'll have to fill out, give them the information that you gave them before.
It's like, okay, that's a
they'll find you in their archives, what they got on you, this, that, and the third.
Something different. And Grammarly gives you.
But like I was saying,
it's not as bad as the letter that Joey wrote. The recommendation Joey Tribbiani wrote for
Friends.
Yeah, on Friends.
Okay.
Then
I'll get in touch with you before the day's end.
What was it?
Before midnight, for sure. It's 6 o'clock right now.
Yeah, the thesaurus, I think, yeah.
So Grammarly is, I don't know what I would do without it.
Definitely.
Great stuff. Thank you for their support of the show. All right, let's talk some news now. I want to start, though, with what unfolded last night, because now that the House has voted for a second time to impeach President Donald Trump, we need now to start thinking about whether the Senate will convict him and ban him from future office. Because right now, insiders are betting that the Senate barely acquits him. Barely. But some of those guys could decide to flip. We saw Mitch McConnell still keeping his options open, which is amazing.
How's things on your side, Cedric?
And right now, it looks like it's hard to call. Really too early to call. And, these Vegas odds bettors right now are saying, we don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. Some Republicans are already saying that the Senate can't convict a former president, but we actually have precedent for that. Former Secretary of Defense was prosecuted and convicted after leaving office, resigned and left office, and then they convicted him because they impeached him because they discovered he had been taking bribes. So after he left office, Senator Tom Cotton is saying that from Arkansas. Also, Senator Lindsey Graham last night calling everyone, telling them, that, hey, you shouldn't impeach him. Trump's gone. He's gone. Let him go. But others, though, are not really concerned. I mean, others are concerned that the House impeachment process was so fast. And they were griping that Trump was never able to present any defense.
You agreed to let the bank.
And they are, of course, saying it's time to get the country together. These are all process arguments right now.
But this, they're not allowed to touch.
It's easy for Republicans to fall back on. They want to say no.
You're gonna have a conflict.
It is really interesting though to see how wide
it's gonna work out for you.
It becomes like, hey, he didn't get a hearing over in the House. How can we convict? How can we move forward?
The six. Nobody was allowed to touch. I remember telling you that. Nobody.
Additional information might start to
the
show
mob.
and become
They wasn't allowed to touch.
between now and the Senate trial. And one of the stories we're going to get to this morning, which is how many of these members of Congress were leading these reconnaissance tours, leading people on a tour,
child services, on your library card.
Would even be
they not allowed to touch
in the Senate, but it'd be public.
Nobody.
So we know how public sentiment.
So even though you gave the consent,
conviction, right? If you start calling your member of Congress saying, "Hey, I want you to vote to convict this president," and there's an overwhelming push,
I think they have, like they said, they have to reject it.
That might be inadmissible. That's how public.
So it goes there.
The key person watching
14 days.
Is Senate Leader Mitch McConnell of Kentucky, because look, he's been saying that he's going to wait to hear all the evidence.
It's a good time to staying out of the way of sickness and watching the country go crazy.
He's just saying, I'm going to listen to the evidence. He's keeping his options open, but he did say he was pleased that the Democrats voted to impeach. He's done with Trump. And this could be a signal of where the future of the Republican Party goes. So right now, the key is to watch these Senate Republicans who are up for re-election in 2022 and 2024. Because if Mitch McConnell votes to convict, which is, again, a distinct possibility at this point, does that then swing 16 of his Republican colleagues to convict Trump also?
They said on the 4th, so by the 20th.
If McConnell votes to acquit, then there's zero chance Republicans will vote to convict. I mean, I think if you feel like
2 weeks out from the day that they sent it,
McConnell is thinking on all of this. You're probably not alone.
The 18th.
It's pretty interesting to hear some of the reporting on this, because as some reporters are saying, that they've had 5 or 6 different senators call.
Yes, Ed. In the next few days.
What is Mitch up to? A senior GOP senator said, I've had 5 or 6 members of the Senate call me and say, hey, what is Mitch doing? So if you don't think that what he does matters, you're sorely mistaken. That's pretty crazy, right? They're like, hey, what is he doing? I mean, it just goes to show.
And what's going on right now?
But they can't just make up their own mind.
Should have something in your account.
And McConnell right now isn't lobbying his colleagues either way. He's apparently being quiet on the whole thing.
In the next 8 days.
Telling them one way or the other.
I'm just projecting that. Provided they get everything going, boom, no hiccups.
Trump. Of course, that rocked Capitol Hill.
Everybody gets this.
And maybe because McConnell was greenlighting this idea that Senate Republicans could convict Trump, that's why we saw 10 Republicans vote for impeachment last night.
It's a prepaid card. Remember.
I mean, Trump and McConnell does not like Trump. Trump does not like
the same
McConnell.
card they sent to Americans.
Between these two men is shattered. They haven't spoken in weeks, according to reporting.
See, I didn't get the card.
But the official line out of bluegrass country from Mitch McConnell is he hasn't made up his mind. But there is a block of Republican senators at this hour who seem very likely to vote to convict Trump. Mitt Romney, Lisa Murkowski of Alaska, Susan Collins.
And they were trying to do something about that with the whole prepaid
thing. And if McConnell votes to convict
on something else, on one of the other things, wine and bread, they were like, no, I need an actual credit card. We're not accepting prepaid cards. So that wasn't the IRS. It was something else.
Senator John Cornyn of
Texas
might be jump on
EIDL or something else.
They are big McConnell loyalists. And there's plenty of other McConnell loyalists that would also follow.
But
that won't still add up to 19, though. I mean, 17.
Well, it's a real bank.
So that leaves a few of those people, those Republicans who are running in 2022 or 2024, to decide. It's up to those people. What are they going to do?
You can take this, there, boom. But
Senator Shelby,
IRS has told them
possibly
they are not to take any money
Todd Young
from anyone.
Chuck Grassley,
the IRS has told everyone that, so they would be breaking the law. Even though you say, hey, okay, yeah, the IRS has more law for what they say than you do. So they can't touch the money.
Mike Lee of Utah, all worth keeping an eye on the 19th. Then you also have Roger Wicker of Mississippi, So if any of these names ring a bell to you as constituents, like your constituents, and you want them
If
to
they
vote
change
one
the
way or the
law
other,
on the
it's time for
two
you to make a
thou
phone
that's
call.
coming, if
You know,
they
it's time for you to
don't
reach
put
out
the
to your
stipulation in
representative
there,
or your
they can
member of the
take
Senate.
that or from that.
You know, you can consider what Rob Portman out of Ohio
It
said.
all
about
depends on the
impeachment.
law that's
So the
passed
Senate proceeds with
within
an
the bill
impeachment trial.
of the
He said he's
stimulus.
going to do his duty as a juror, and he's going to
The
listen
first
to the
go
cases
round,
presented by both
that
sides.
12, they let whoever take
So,
whatever.
This is where this
If
administration,
you owe
this
the
Biden
child
administration,
services,
is
you ain't
gonna
gonna
begin.
get it.
He's worried, of course, about the polarization.
And your
whether or not
12
the Senate
didn't
goes
go
through
to
this
child
process
services.
now. Is it going to
Well, with some
take
people,
him off of his game and focus on the things that he needs to work on right now?
that didn't help anyone.
But right now, the sort of standard of rendering judgment isn't whether the
Forcing people to pay a debt
the president did what
when
he's
all they
charged
have
with,
is climate debts and other
the country
debts.
together. Whether President Biden
I mean,
can do what he
for
says
the most
he's
part,
do,
that's where
pass
all this
stimulus,
money that they're giving
heal
anyway
the
is going
nation,
to go.
bring people together.
For
He's not president
70%
yet.
of the people.
He's not president yet, so there's very little that he can do other than just have some speeches. One thing he's wondering, though, this morning is whether or not his cabinet will be sworn in or approved ahead of time or more quickly.
See, if this bill for the
At this
2000
point in
gets
the process,
passed
President
before
Trump
he
only had
hits
2
office,
people confirmed. I think
before
Obama
Joe
had
hits
8
office,
people,
that's a good
7
look.
people confirmed.
Worst
before
case
he took
scenario,
office.
gonna have to wait till he hits office, which is on the 19th.
And so this process right now
And
is
then we
slow,
all know
and
they're supposed to be
obviously
fucking
there are people that
hell
need
that
our
day.
cabinet moving
So,
us along very quickly. We want to make sure we have people in these important jobs so that there's not a.
but if they expedite things along properly,
she
could be in your account the next 8 days.
Cabinet in there.
So you also,
and
okay, but
there's
you got
also
the
a question this
prepaid.
morning of whether or not Democrats will stick together to impeach Trump.
Yeah, we gotta talk off stream, man.
Right, Joe Manchin?
You gotta shoot me a friend request, man. I get you in the party chat, explain
this
some
entire
things.
process. That's maybe that's the $64,000 question. Joe Manchin, Senator Joe Manchin. Yesterday we had an issue with our newsletter going out. Thousands of you received it, like everyone received it, but actually it was probably in your spam or junk folder, unfortunately. So if you didn't get your newsletter yesterday, that's likely where it's sitting this morning. So please, go check your newsletter, email, or if you're not a member, just go to morninginvest.com and sign up for free. It's totally free. But we fixed it. So, and when you get the email, just hit reply. Just say, hey, I got it. Let us know that you got it too. That'll be helpful. And that email comes to me, and I can check it, make sure you're good to go on that front. So hopefully we nipped that in the bud for you. All right, let's talk some stimulus news now. We've got some major updates on the stimulus front, and President-elect Biden is set to give a major speech on stimulus this afternoon, where he's expected to roll out this massive package. We'll get into the numbers in just a second.
He's probably talking right now.
President-elect Biden saying, we've got to get this money out to people quickly, and it looks like there's going to be 2 different sections of this process right now. There's going to be 2 different stimulus packages. So let me play you what Joe Biden said about this, and then we'll dive into the numbers and explain how this is coming together this morning.
But as I said from the beginning, the need to make sure that relief and future relief reaches everyone who needs it, we need to do more. These relief dollars will start to flow quickly, potentially, while the current administration is still in office.
Yeah, I heard
they
that.
may send out money that they won't have any control over. But for what we have to need control over, I want to be very clear what my priorities are for distributing this emergency aid swiftly and equitably. Our focus will be on small businesses on Main Street that aren't wealthy and well-connected, that are facing real economic hardships through no fault of their own.
Mom and pop shops.
Our priority will be Black, Latino, Asian, and Native American-owned small businesses, women-owned businesses, and finally having equal access to resources needed to reopen and rebuild. But we're going to make a concerted effort to help small businesses in low-income communities, in big cities, small towns, rural communities that have faced systemic barriers to relief. Think of the mom and pop owner with a couple of employees who can't pick up the phone and
I didn't
call
even hear
the
the
banker,
speech.
who doesn't have a lawyer, an accountant, to help them through this complicated process. to know if they even qualify, or who simply didn't know where this relief is available in the first place.
That's an incredibly important point. And I'm glad he said that. We've been saying that here on the show for a while, which is there's a lot of people that had access, that there was stimulus dollars available. They might not have even known about it. They don't even know how to get it, how to get access to it. Most people don't have access to a lawyer. Lawyers are expensive. Do you think there's someone out there that has a $5,000 they can put down as a retainer fee on a lawyer? $2,000? No.
400, 500.
Or just to find simple answers like that.
But who's going to spend that?
These are the people he's trying to target early in this process, and I'm encouraged to hear that.
We went through this, Don, when we brought the Detroit back off its knees. And as we saw in this morning's job report, restaurants, bars, and hospitality industry have been slammed by this virus. We're going to direct relief to those businesses and others that have been so badly hit the hardest. We owe them that support to help them get through the other side of this crisis.
So the president-elect is set to speak this afternoon in Wilmington, Delaware, where he will unveil, there's a couple of different reports right now floating around on the exact price tag, the overall number. No one knows exactly, except he, I'm sure. There is one report that it's going to be in the neighborhood of 1.5 trillion. But remember, there's going to be two different packages in this. And so it's unclear what size this is going to look like. I mean, we're understanding Schumer is saying around 1.3 trillion and is pushing the president-elect for that. Others are saying it's going to be around the 1.5 trillion mark. We do know there's a couple of key things in this bill that will have some significant effect for Americans. It's supposed to include $2,000 stimulus payments. Other reports I'm hearing from different reporting is saying they might be in the $1,400 range.
Do you remember what the amount was? So over what the big corporations got, what was the trillion mark that the people got during the CARES Act? When they got the...
I'm too nice. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I'm just too nice because what he's interrupting and asking him about right now is what the hell I was talking about last night. When big business got bailed out, banks got bailed out, Wall Street got bailed out, what were they given? What were they allocated? Let's see if they know.
$2,000. They got the unemployment extension. Do you remember what the total amount was?
Under the CARES Act?
Yeah.
Well,
it actually went
CARES
to the people.
Act. Yeah, the amount that went to the people was $1,200. I don't know the total sum. I think it was in the neighborhood of $400 billion.
Okay.
Roughly $400 billion.
Okay, I just wanted to get a comparison of the amount versus what this is, because that's considerably larger than.
Get the amount.
Exactly, and so this would be targeted towards families.
Right.
This, from what I'm understanding in this package, this doesn't look like it's going to be targeted towards business, certainly not Wall Street. It looks like this is expected to have focus on children in poor and middle-class households. $2,000 stimulus payments, unemployment benefits up to $600. There is also a push for this new tax credit. The new child benefit will be involved in this as well. It will extend. So this new child benefit is going to be interesting. It's going to have unemployment, other assistance for ailing economy, as well as this. Again, it's not been finalized yet, but some are saying it's going to be similar to his campaign pledge, which was $300 per month to American households for every child under the age of 6. So per month, as well as $250 per month for every child between the ages of 6 and 17. That's going to amount to about $3,600 per year for families. So these child credits We don't know what the final number will be until today, until we get the actual numbers from him. But this child tax credit is going to benefit.
I think.
Here, we can catch up. Biden proposes 1.9. They were saying 1.3, 1.4. He proposed 1.9 trillion. COVID relief plan sets goals for 100 million vaccines in 100 days. I mean, really no need to listen to them because that was this morning. They were waiting to see what he was going to say. Let's hear what he says. So now we're moving over to Biden's speech as of 42 minutes ago. Let's hear from the horse's mouth. Because nobody knows all the particulars of his plan. I'm willing to bet too much isn't delved here, but we'll see. I don't know if he's answering questions or if he's just giving a speech. Let's see, let's fast forward a bit, get him on screen. Here we go. Fast forward.
Patricia Dowd took her last breath at home under the California sun in Santa Clara. She was 50.
They were having serious technical difficulties. Walking to the podium.
Good evening, my fellow Americans. It's been 343 days since the virus that has ravaged our nation tragically claimed its first life.
Kamala Harris is there.
On February the 6th in 2020, Patricia Dowd took her last breath at home under the California sun in Santa Clara. She was 57 years old, a beloved wife, mother, daughter, sister. She never knew she had the virus at the time when most folks never heard about the virus. But just like that, she was gone. And almost exactly 1 year later, nearly 400,000 of our fellow Americans have met the same cruel fate. Countless families and friends left behind with unrelenting grief and guilt, anger and frustration. And the emptiness felt by the loss of life is compounded by the loss of our way of life. During this pandemic, millions of Americans, through no fault of their own, have lost the dignity and respect that comes with a job and a paycheck. Millions of Americans never thought they'd be out of work. Many of them never even envisioned the idea, are facing eviction, waiting for hours in their cars to feed their families as they drive up to a food bank. Millions have kept their jobs but have seen their hours and paychecks reduced, barely hanging on as well. That's happening today in the United States of America. Just as in the midst of the dark winter of this pandemic, as cases, hospitalizations, and deaths spike at record levels, there is real pain overwhelming the real economy. one where people rely on paychecks, not their investments, to pay for their bills and their meals and their children's needs. You won't see this pain if your scorecard is how things are going on Wall Street. But you will see it fairly clearly if you examine what the twin crises of a pandemic and this sinking economy have laid bare. The growing divide between those few people at the very top who are doing quite well in this economy and the rest of America. Just since this pandemic began, the wealth of the top 1% of the nation has grown roughly $1.5 trillion since the end of last year. 4 times the amount for the entire bottom 50% of American wage earners. Some 18 million Americans are still relying on unemployment insurance. Some 400,000 small businesses have permanently closed their doors. And it's not hard to see that we're in the middle of the once in several generations economic crisis with a once in several generations public health crisis. The crisis of deep human suffering is in plain sight. There's no time to waste. We have to act, and we have to act now. This is what economists are telling us. More importantly, it's what the values we hold dear in our hearts as Americans are telling us. A growing chorus of top economists agree that the moment of crisis, in this moment of crisis, with interest rates at historic lows, we cannot afford inaction. It's not just that smart fiscal investments, including deficit spending, are more urgent than ever. It's that the return on these investments in jobs, racial equity, will prevent long-term economic damage, and the benefits will far surpass the cost. A growing number of top economists has shown even our debt situation will be more stable, not less stable, if we seize this moment with vision and purpose. And so tonight, I'd like to talk to you about our way forward. A 2-step plan of rescue and recovery. A 2-step plan to build a bridge to the other side of the crisis we face to a better, stronger, more secure America. Tonight, I'll lay out my first step, the American Rescue Plan that will tackle the pandemic and get direct financial assistance and relief to Americans who need it the most. Next month, my first appearance before a joint session of Congress, I will lay out my Build Back Better recovery plan. It will make historic investments in infrastructure, that Build Back Better plan. Infrastructure, manufacturing, innovation, research and development, clean energy. Investments in a caregiving economy and skills and training needed by our workers to be able to compete and win in the global economy of the coming years. Moody's, an independent Wall Street firm, said my approach will create more than 18 million good-paying jobs. Our rescue and recovery plan is a path forward with both seriousness of purpose and a clear plan, with transparency and accountability, with a call for unity that is equally necessary. And unity is not some pie-in-the-sky dream. It's a practical step to getting the things we have to get done as a country get done together. As I said when it passed in December, the bipartisan COVID-19 relief package was a very important first step. I'm grateful for the Democrats, Republicans, and independent members of Congress who came together to get it done. What I said at the time is just a down payment. We need more action, more bipartisanship. We need to move quickly. We need to move fast. Our rescue plan starts aggressively in order to speed up our national COVID-19 response. The vaccines offer so much hope. We're grateful to the scientists and researchers and everyone who participated in the clinical trials. We're also grateful for the rigorous review and testing that has led to millions of people around the world already being vaccinated safely. But the vaccine rollout in the United States has been a dismal failure thus far. Tomorrow, I will lay out our vaccination plan to correct course and meet our goal of 100 million shots at the end of my first 100 days as president. This will be one of the most challenging operational efforts we have ever undertaken as a nation. We'll have to move heaven and earth to get more people vaccinated, to create more places for them to get vaccinated, to mobilize more medical teams to get shots in people's arms, to increase vaccine supply, and to get it out the door as fast as possible. We'll also do everything we can to keep our educators and students safe, to safely reopen a majority of our K through 8 schools by the end of the first 100 days. We can do this if we give the school districts, the schools themselves, the communities, the states, the clear guidance they need, as well as the resources they need, that they can't afford right now because of the economic dilemma they're in. That means more testing and transportation, additional cleaning and sanitizing services in those schools, protective equipment and ventilation systems in those schools. We need to make sure that workers who have COVID-19 symptoms are quarantined, and those who need to take care of their family members with COVID-19 symptoms should be able to stay home from work and still get paid. This will reduce the spread of the virus and make sure workers get the support they need to maintain their families. But we need about $400 billion in funding from Congress to make all of what I just said happen. It's a great deal, but I'm convinced we are ready to get this done. The very health of our nation is at stake. Our rescue plan also includes immediate relief to Americans hardest hit and most in need. We will finish the job of getting a total of $2,000 in cash relief to people who need it the most. The $600 already appropriated is simply not enough. We just have to choose between paying rent and putting food on the table. Even for those who kept their jobs, these checks are really important. You see, if you're an American worker making $40,000 a year with less than $400 in savings, maybe you've lost hours, or maybe you're doing fewer shifts, driving a truck or caring for the kids or the elderly. You're out there putting your life on the line to work during this pandemic and worried every week that you get sick, lose your job, or worse. $2,000 is going to go a long way to ease that pain. We'll also provide more peace of mind for struggling families by extending unemployment insurance beyond the end of March for millions of workers. That means that 18 million Americans currently relying on unemployment benefits, while they look for work, can count on these checks continuing to be there. Plus, there will be a $400 per week supplement so people can make ends meet. This gets money quickly into the pockets of millions of Americans who will spend it immediately on food and rent and other basic needs. As the economists tell us, that helps the whole economy grow. We'll also tackle the growing hunger crisis in America. As I speak, and the Vice President-elect has spoken to this many times, 1 in 7 households in America, more than 1 in 5 Black and Latino households in America, report they don't have enough food to eat. This includes 30 million adults
Just one.
and as many as 12 million children. It's wrong. It's tragic. It's unnecessary. It's unacceptable. So we're going to extend emergency nutritional assistance for 43 million children and their families enrolled in the SNAP program through the rest of this year. We'll help hard-hit restaurants prepare meals for the hungry, provide food for the families who need it. We'll invest $3 billion in making sure mothers and their young children have the nutrition they need. This will not only meet our moral obligation we have to one another, but will also spur our economic growth, get restaurants and workers back on the job. And as we work to keep people from going hungry, we'll also work to keep a roof over their heads, to stem the growing housing crisis and evictions that are looming. Approximately 14 million Americans are falling behind on rent, many at risk of eviction. If we don't act now, there will be a wave of evictions and foreclosures in the coming months as the pandemic rages on. This would overwhelm emergency shelters, increase COVID-19 infections as people have nowhere to go and can't socially distance. Next week, we'll take action to extend nationwide restrictions on evictions and foreclosures. This will provide more than 25 million Americans greater stability instead of living on the edge every single month. And I'm asking Congress to do its part by funding rental assistance for 14 million hard-hit families and tenants. It will also be a bridge to economic recovery for countless mom and pop landlords. These crises are straining the budgets of states, cities, and tribal communities that are forced to consider layoff and service restrictions of the most needed workers. It means that people putting their lives at risk are the very people now at risk of losing their jobs. Police officers, firefighters, all first responders, nurses, educators. You know, over the last year alone, over 600,000 educators have lost their jobs in our cities and towns. Our rescue plan will provide emergency funding to keep these essential workers on the job and maintain essential services. It will ensure that vaccines are administered and schools can reopen. Vice President-elect Harris and I have been speaking with county officials, mayors, governors of both parties on a regular basis. We're ready to work with them, help them get the relief they need. Our rescue plan will also help small businesses that are the engines of our economic growth, our economy as a whole, the glue that holds communities together as well. But they're hurting badly. And you realize they account for nearly half of the entire total U.S. workforce. Our rescue plan will provide flexible grants to help those hardest hit small businesses survive the pandemic. And the low-cost capital that will help entrepreneurs of all backgrounds create and maintain jobs, plus provide the essential goods and services communities depend on. Last week, I laid out how we'll make sure that our emergency small business relief is distributed swiftly and equitably, unlike the first time around. We're going to focus on small businesses on Main Street.
Joe Biden
Focus on minority-owned small businesses, women-owned small businesses, and finally having equal access to the resources they need to reopen and to rebuild. And we will be responsible with taxpayers' dollars, ensuring accountability that reduces waste and fraud and abuse like we did in the Recovery Act that I administered in our administration. Direct cash payments, extended unemployment insurance, rent relief, food assistance, keeping essential frontline workers on the job, aid to small businesses. These are the key elements to the American Rescue Plan that would lift 12 million Americans out of poverty, cut child poverty in half. That's 5 million children lifted out of poverty. Our plan will reduce poverty in the Black community by 1/3, reduce poverty in the Hispanic community by almost 40%. It includes much more, like an increase in the minimum wage to at least $15 an hour. People tell me that's going to be hard to pass. Florida just passed it. As divided as that state is, they just passed it.
We got it
The
here.
rest of the country's ready to move as well.
It's like
The national minimum wage is $15 an hour. No one working 40 hours a week should live below the poverty line. That's what it means. If you work for less than $15 an hour and work 40 hours a week, you're living in poverty. It includes access to affordable child care that will enable parents, particularly women, to get back to work. I look forward to working with members of Congress, both parties, to move quickly to get the American Rescue Plan to the American people. Then we can move with equal urgency and bipartisanship to my Build Back Better recovery plan. that I will call for next month to generate even more economic growth. American manufacturing was the arsenal of democracy in World War II. It will be so again. Imagine a future made in America, all made in America, and all by Americans. We'll use taxpayers' dollars to rebuild America. We'll buy American products, supporting millions of American manufacturing jobs, enhancing our competitive strength in an increasingly competitive world. Imagine historic investments in research and development to sharpen America's innovative edge in markets where global leadership is up for grabs. Markets like the battery technology, artificial intelligence, biotechnology, clean energy. Imagine confronting the climate crisis with American jobs and ingenuity leading the world. It's time to stop talking about infrastructure and to finally start building an infrastructure so we can be more competitive. Millions of good paying jobs. Put Americans to work rebuilding our roads, our bridges, our ports, to make them more climate resilient, to make them faster, cheaper, cleaner, to transport American-made goods across our country and around the world. That's how we compete. And imagine millions of jobs in the caregiving economy to ease the financial burden of caring for young children and aged loved ones. Let's make sure our caregivers, mostly women of color, immigrants, have the same pay and dignity that they deserve. So we can do these bold, practical things now. Now I know what I just described does not come cheaply. Failure to do so will cost us dearly. The consensus among leading economists is we simply cannot afford not to do what I'm proposing. Independent, respected institutions from around the world, from the Federal Reserve to the International Monetary Fund, have underscored the urgency. Even Wall Street firms have reinforced the logic. If we invest now boldly, smartly, and with unwavering focus on American workers and families, we will strengthen our economy, reduce inequity, and put our nation's long-term finances on the most sustainable course.
If we bail out
and where we're making permanent investments,
that's it.
Recurring investments. As I said in the campaign trail, we will pay for that by making sure that everyone pays their fair share, not punishing anybody. We can do it without punishing a single person by closing tax loopholes for companies that ship jobs overseas, or to allow American companies, 90 of them, the top Fortune 500, to pay zero in federal income taxes, asking everyone to pay their fair share at the top, so we can make permanent investments to rescue and rebuild America. It's the right thing for our economy. It's the fair thing. It's the decent thing to do.
Tax the rich.
We not only have an economic imperative to act now, I believe we have a moral obligation. In this pandemic, in America, we cannot let people go hungry. We cannot let people get evicted. We cannot watch nurses, educators, and others lose their jobs. We so badly need them. We must act now and act decisively. My fellow Americans, the decisions we make in the next few weeks and months are to determine whether we thrive in a way that benefits all Americans, whether we stay stuck in a place where those at the top do great, while economic growth for most everyone else is just a spectator sport, where American prospects dim, not bright.
Watching economic growth is a spectator sport.
Whether we reassert American leadership and outcompete our competitors in a global economy.
Whoever wrote this for him?
Do this in any nation in the world.
Unless he wrote it himself.
Or that we watch them catch up and pass us by. Together, I know which path we'll choose. That includes all Americans, so we can own the 21st century. Lead with all these bold steps. It's going to take time to get where we need to be. There will be stumbles, but I will always be honest with you about both the progress we're making and what setbacks we meet. And here's the deal, the more people we vaccinate, the faster we do it, the sooner we can save lives and put this pandemic behind us and get back to our lives and our loved ones. And the sooner we can rescue and rebuild the American economy, the biggest and most profitable engine in the world. I know it's been nearly a year. It's tested us beyond measure. All of you have lost someone. My heart goes out to you. I know that feeling looking at an empty chair across the table. All of you have fallen on hard times. I know you can never get back what you lost. But as your president, I know that every day matters and every person matters.
Every minute.
From the very first to the nearly 400,000 lost American souls and counting, to the millions of you just looking for a fighting chance in this economy, I promise you, we will not forget you. We understand what you're going through. We will never, ever give up. And we will come back. We'll come back together. We didn't get into all this overnight. We won't get out of it overnight. And we can't do it as a separated and divided nation.
We got into this shit
The
overnight.
only way we can do it is to come together as fellow Americans, as neighbors, as the United States of America.
Q McJagger.
And when we do,
Come together.
there's nothing beyond our capacity. I've said this many times. When America acts as one, there's never been a single thing we've been unable to do, no matter how consequential the issue has been. Out of all the peril of this moment, I want you to know, give me a word, I see the promise. The promise as well. We've seen clearly.
Don't say the promise.
I remain so optimistic about America. As optimistic as I've ever been. We have everything we need.
You were pretty negative before.
Must be demonstrated. So come Wednesday, we begin a new chapter. Vice President-elect and I will do our best to meet all the expectations you have for the country and the expectations we have for it. I'm confident.
It's been a life of
Truly
expectations.
confident. Together, we can get this done and come out better off than when we went into this crisis. God bless you all. May God protect our troops.
Have you heard from the parliamentarian about bifurcation, sir? Will bifurcation work with this agenda and impeachment?
He didn't even answer a question. He didn't let Kamala speak. I mean, I agree with a lot of what he said, and then I don't know. I heard a little bit of bullshit, but no different than Trump, Obama. Get a man a fair chance. We all heard what he said.
Tonight, the push to impeach President Trump a historic second time gaining momentum.
Is it?
Democrats
Yeah. I mean, you say finally a leader's talking. Sounds good. I mean, I could tell you a bunch of shit that sound good, but it won't be good until we make it good and make it so. So, me personally, I'm good on all the political promises. I'm good on all that. I'm good on all that belief system with that. What works for me is action. I've been saying that around here. Be about what you talk about. Practice what you preach. Shit, I thought he was gonna let Kamala speak, and she'd have broke out the second plan. But his first plan has more money in it than any of them imagined. But what I want to know, I have got to find this out. What was the bill that was passed for big business or Wall Street, how many trillions were they allocated when they were bailed out? I want to ask Google, but I know I got to have my question in order. Because point in it being, several points. That shows what we should be getting, how much more or less we're getting in comparison to the other previous bailouts. Additionally, the fact that while we bailed out, we did the taxpayer dollars, yeah. While we bailed out Wall Street and big business those times, uh, we recovered. The economy recovered every time. Every time. COVID put it on hold. The economy was on a return. It was back. It was good. Then COVID hit, and shit took a plump. But if we can afford to, I think let's say it was 4 trillion, right? Well, then we damn sure can afford to cover the bill of half that, and we'll be all right and good. Like he said, at double the speed. If you go and put America on, not just give them some scraps, you put people in a position to make investments, to do things on their feet with a new pair of shoes. I mean, they did knock everyone off their feet and knock their shoes off. So it's time to put people back on their feet and get them some new shoes. And that requires bread. That ain't no fucking 2,000. $1.9 trillion. He's the president. They got all the seats in office lined up with all this tension that's been going on. It's woken up everybody's morality, whatever they have left of it or whatever. You know what I mean? Everybody's on the spotlight. You don't want to be the one seen going against the grain because then you're defined as a swamp member. So this should work. Of course, the rich are going to have a problem with the fact that he wants to tax them. But I think after at least half a century of not being taxed, that they should. Yeah. Fuck that. No reason why they shouldn't be paying taxes. And we shouldn't be able to use their money towards bettering the country. They're Americans too. Business owners and all that. Yeah. Here in America, you pay 10%. That's it. It's probably 12 now, what I mean? Whatever. But everybody should pay it. There should be no reason why someone doesn't. Unless they are disabled in some form or fashion, and we shouldn't be taking money from them, from, one of the disablies that work, help pack the bags and gather the carts at Walmart and the grocery store and whatnot. They should just be tax free. Like, don't take anything from them. Let them gain everything that they've ever made. They're already at a disadvantage. No need for us to hold them back. Pardon situations like that and others. If we were to tax the rich, Jesus Christ, we never have a economic problem. Really though, because they making bread, and on tax on their dollars, serious bread. Boy, just taxing 5 of the rich is enough to cover a $1,200 stimulus check for the entire country. And there's hundreds of rich people. It's all simple math. So, a lot of talk. And I mean, he was fluid. He was fluent with it. It was back to back, back to back, back to back. He didn't litter it with stories, and he laid down his business plan. He did not make mention of his efforts about foreign war, but he focused on what he knows the people need to hear and what he knows is the issue. My thing with him, even though I'm finna give him a clean slate, is his track record. This all sounds good, but this come from the same guy whose plans went completely against all this. His previous plans, went against this. He's passed bills to hold people back. So all this talk about putting people first and moving people forward, it sounds good. It sounds good. I'm not saying he's not gonna do it. I hope the hell, I hope the hell he does. I'm just saying it sounds good. Wasted. Salute. Hope you can hear me. I didn't hear him make mention, and maybe he forgot, or maybe it wasn't written in there. I don't know if he wrote it or somebody's team wrote it for him and he recited it enough. But I didn't hear anything about hazard pay. I heard a lot of money talk. But when he got around to essential workers, he was supposed to be like, yes, and they're holding the line and they need to be compensated for their effort and work. I didn't hear that. Doesn't mean he's not for it. I just didn't hear it. This shit you gotta listen for. There was something else he said that actually slipped my mind at the moment. But he made very, very, very serious points. Those are facts. Things he said are true. From what it's gonna take to what people were going through, the numbers. Now remember, that's just talk right now. And there's still days to go. They got 20,000 troops sleeping in the capital, anticipating some bullshit. We'll have to see how this plays out. Salute to all you pulling up, chopping it up, some mud, a couple blunts. It's politicking. And those of you that have interacted, My day's been pretty cool, and I hope yours is as well up to this point. And if it's been cool, I hope the remainder of your day remains the same. No problems to report, just politicking. It's still tight. A little early, I had planned on getting the drone flight. There's some new features with my drone that I want to try out. I don't know if I'm actually gonna pull that off. Might wait for tomorrow. But nevertheless, it's today, 14th. A lot of good things in a week's time right now. Just like the suspense of everything. We already had the drama. Now this the suspense as to endgame. What happens this week right here? On the video game side of things, we haven't had anything drop in the longest, but that Hitman is on the way. That drops on the 20th. So hopefully, I'll just be playing the game and not watching actual Hitman missions on television through TV. I hope that doesn't turn out to be some wild conspiracy or something. You know what I mean? Hitman drops and then somebody gets assassinated. I really hope that's not something we're about to see here in a week. There's been enough bloodshed. There shouldn't have been any in the first place for these matters of getting relief to people. And elections. That word is taboo around here. YouTube team approached me about swaying opinions on elections. But hey, we're here. It's like he said, we make it through things. That's nothing new. So we gotta make it through this. For those of interest, matters to our clique. Sis is good. She's maintaining. We're staying posted and updated on that matter. My first slow session of the day. I salute those that pulled up and rolled up, chilled with it. Yeah, 5 minutes. 2021. That's what that's about. Call me Ace. Finish up the last 5 minutes with some chill hop. New chill hop. 2021 shit. And don't forget to hit the little heart. Show a little love, get a lot of return. We'll catch you on the next one. Whatever that may be. One person got a toll glass, shut the fuck up. One obsessor. 2 hours. Good enough. That's my 2 cents over 2 hours. I will catch y'all on the next one, people. Peace.